Welcome back, everybody. It's Mr. Reality. I'm joined by psychic medium Liz Cross. Liz, how are you doing?
I'm cold. How are you?
I'm pretty warming up. This is a popular request in your YouTube channel. People ask they want to talk to Thomas Jefferson, Sally Hemings. So I know what we're doing now is we're applying the morality of today on the past, which is difficult to do. So we're looking at this from a different lens. So we're not going to cast judgment at the time. Well, we probably will anyway, but we're going to try our best. I wonder if we can bring in the energy of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States.
Yes, I have him standing here.
Now, when I was he here when I called him or when we called him, or do you bring forth him? What is the mechanism behind him arriving?
What was the mechanism behind? He just knew he was supposed to be here. He's actually standing here before we hit the record button.
Hello, oh, over here. Hello. Point of order. Thank you, Mr. Jefferson. That was me, not Thomas Jefferson, saying that, by the way. Um, can he tell us about his what he's been doing? Is he incarnated now?
Are you in? Yes, he is incarnated now. Are you in the US? Yes, he is. Are you in politics? Yes, he is.
Oh, tread lightly. Would we know this person if we heard them by name?
Would we? Yes. You
Are
want me to
they?
tell you who he is?
I do. Hell yeah.
Okay, forgive me, audience. Who's the older guy that had a stroke and he's not doing so well? I believe he's a Republican.
I don't know. We can put in the comments below. Let us tell us your best guess, and we'll let
Yeah.
you know if you're right. So I wanted to ask Thomas Jefferson about his incarnate. So his incarnation before, when he was Thomas Jefferson, there's been a lot of people talking about you were a slaveholder, you were trying to get rid of slavery. You, we're going to have to touch on that issue. But how do you feel that? How did you justify that in your head by having slaves but wanting to get rid of them?
How did you justify in your head about having slaves? It was the sign of the times, he says, basically, he says that's how you made profit. You had slaves. You didn't have to pay for labor. Like now, obviously, today we have employees and we don't have slavery, thank God. But it was cheap labor. And he says that's something that anybody who runs a business wants is cheap labor. Um, Not excusing what he did, obviously, but that was the principle behind it. It's cheap labor. Now, if we apply this today, you see it all the time. People are underpaid, undervalued. Would you say that that is a form of slave labor? And well, he says no, you can't compare the two.
So, what does Thomas Jefferson believe the role of the government should be from his Thomas Jefferson perspective?
So, what do you think the role of government? Totally and completely hands off.
Does he carry that on with his incarnation now?
No.
I'd have to do a mind probe to ask him what his opinion about the government's role now is.
Yes, and I mean, now it's impossible, he says. It is, it's too far gone. Like the government's hand is in everywhere, is what he believes, comparing himself to the time, or comparing our time, sorry, to when he was president. It was about generating cash flow. It was making sure businesses survive, survival of the people, and industry. Even though when he says industry, he's not talking about industrial age. He's really talking about, just mass production of food, really. Um, a lot to do with the media. The media was everywhere, mass production of papers, news. it was more free to report. And I'm saying, but was it more free to report then or now? I mean, he's not really giving me an answer on that. I'm saying, well, do you think that we report more now? And he goes, well, yes. I mean, there's definitely more outlets now. Whereas when it was just newspapers back in his day, or pamphlets or books or flyers, or, preaching, it wasn't, you weren't reaching as many people. And also, newspapers obviously controlled what they published. They still had editors. Now we have less controls on what we publish.
Are there different senses? We have physical senses down here, but are there different sensory inputs that you have when you're not incarnated?
Oh, are there different sensory inputs? No, not really. You don't. Do we have any of the senses up there? No.
So how would he compare life as he lives up there now versus life on the earth plane?
Well, he's down here at the moment, but when he is in spirit, how do you compare the two, between up there and down here? Is there any way to compare the two? I mean, yeah, there's ways. Everything is much lighter up there, as in it's not heavy, the burdens are not heavy. Everything is free. Again, talking about that breeze, that's not the first time we've come across that when we've channeled somebody. There's like a light breeze. It's a very healing type of breeze.
What's the breeze from?
You've what is the breeze from? Spirit. It's like a spirit wind. Is
How are you
wind
able to perceive that?
yeah, how do you perceive that? Where, so let's ask Source, because he doesn't know where it comes from. So let's ask Source, where does this spiritual breeze come from? Oh, okay. So Source is saying it's generated from the energy field and it's a cleansing breeze. It's a healing breeze.
But is it a byproduct of a larger machine?
Is it a byproduct of a larger machine? Yes.
Oh, we'll unlock that another time. So, in order to unpack Thomas Jefferson, we need to go back to 1715. John Wales had a number of white children. He had three wives, but one of his children was Sally Hemings, who had an affair with Thomas Jefferson. So, I wanted to know if we could talk to Sally Hemings here and get her perspective on her relationship with the third president.
It was awful. He used me. I had to comply. I didn't have a choice. Did he ever beat you? No. Did did you have feelings for him? No. She was scared of him.
But she entered into that contract with him before she came down. Was she forced into that contract from the higher plane too?
No, but they've had lots and lots of past lives together, these two. But he's always very cruel to her in those lifetimes. She's been his mistress in more than one lifetime. He treats her very badly. He usually owns her. In this particular lifetime, she was an African American slave, or African slave,
She was
but
biracial. Yeah.
right, right. So, but in a previous lifetime, she was like almost like an Egyptian slave or some sort of Middle Eastern slave. People have been buying and selling people for so long. It's she's been bought and sold by him many times.
Is she incarnated now too?
Yes.
What's her relationship like with the incarnated Thomas Jefferson?
Do you know him in this lifetime? She doesn't have a relationship with him in this lifetime. They're not together.
Okay. Well, she's gotten away. Is she out of the soul contract?
Yes.
How did she break that?
She just couldn't do it anymore. It wasn't working out for her. There were no benefits to having this cruel contract with him. It wasn't a fair contract. Um, Energy was being wasted. But what about your children that you had with him? Yes. Are they your children in this lifetime? Yes. She does have some of those children in this lifetime. Um, but never again. She doesn't even want to speak to him or have any interactions with him whatsoever. Now, interestingly enough, the state that she's in, he is a politician in that state. So she lives in his jurisdiction or his catchment area. Um, but they both have no soul recollection of who they once were.
How was she able to remove herself from that soul contract? And what was the weighted, argument that she had to make to the higher realms to get out of it? Because we find a lot of people suffering and not able to remove themselves from painful, difficult situations.
How were you able? Well, he had to release her from that contract. On a soul level, she just nicely explained that this really isn't beneficial for her. And he wasn't really holding on to her. So some souls cling on to other souls for many different reasons, like if they're stronger or if they are going to bring about a lot of life lessons for the other soul. Uh, but that wasn't the case for these two. It was they'd gone as far as they could go.
So let us understand how that karmic debt works then. If she's absolved herself from the entanglement of Thomas Jefferson and now she's removed herself from his soul circle, what happened to that karma? Are there other emotions that we don't know about or other entanglements that we don't know about? And how are those absolved?
Were there other emotions? I mean, they pretty much were both detached from one another. I mean, so let's ask him this question. In the lifetime of Thomas Jefferson, did you love her? No, he didn't love her. And in the lifetime, she didn't love him. And on a soul level, did you two love one another? No, they really didn't. They just kind of they kept making contracts out of fear. As in, I'm too scared to make contracts with other souls. That's dangerous territory. You don't know exactly what you're going to get and how you will feel about it. But after this lifetime with Thomas Jefferson, she said, I just can't keep doing this anymore.
But from my point of view, if you've enslaved somebody in a number of lifetimes, there's karmic debt. So did she just say, "All right, let's wipe the slate clean. I'm dissolving the karmic debt" when she was on the other side? And are there any complications from her dissolving that karmic debt? What were the steps that she took over there to break that?
What were the steps that you took? She just refused to make any deals or make any contracts with him. And he was okay with that. He released the karmic debt. So, where does the karmic debt go once it's released between two souls? It just goes into the ether, is what I'm getting. It just goes, it's just, and then it dissipates. And then, of course, energy can transmute into other things. But for those two, he allowed her to go. A lot of times souls will not do that. They really want you to, they will not release you from the karmic debt. They want you to keep recreating things over and over. He actually saw that this was not beneficial for him or her. There was no, and again, as we explored in that lifetime that they had together, there was no real emotional, conscious mind emotional attachment other than she feared him. Um, it wasn't enough to keep them going, but you have to have a mutual consent of release of the karmic debt.
Can that be done while you're on the earth plane as well, or does it have to be done in the spirit plane?
Can that be done on the earth plane? No, not really. It has to be an agreement. I mean, we do have a process in the CTT to release that. But basically, you're sending information to your soul to convince your soul and the souls of the ones you want to be released from, so that when you do get into the spirit world, you know, those contracts are dissolved and the karmic debt is dissolved. Um, there are souls that work on this and they have had success here on the earth plane, but you know, obviously the proof is in the pudding when they get up to the spirit world.
Right. And so they do not communicate now.
No.
The his first wife, or his only wife, Thomas Jefferson's Martha Wales Skelton Jefferson. Martha was a very popular name back then, so pretty much everybody is named Martha. Um, can we talk to Jefferson's wife, Martha Skelton?
Yes, I have her here. Now she does
So
not like the mistress at all.
she knew about the mistress,
She did. Once she got into spirit, yes.
but she knew about it before she incarnated. She must have given her okay for it then, right?
No.
Hmm. Is she incarnated now?
Yes.
Does she
She
have any
is his
connection?
wife. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
You said it. Go ahead.
She is his wife in this lifetime.
And so, is there any karmic debt that she has incurred or that he has incurred by, and it's really not cheating because the relationship with Sally Hemings happened after her death, I believe, if I'm right.
hmm
So he just took on a concubine slave mistress, which in our opinion is horrible, but sign of the times. Um, she vowed, she said, never remarry once I'm gone. And he burned all of her letters that she wrote to him because he said it was private. So I want to know from her point of view, what was in those letters that maybe Thomas Jefferson was afraid of getting out about their relationship?
Why did he burn the letters? He didn't want any reminder of her. Um, you know, again, he wasn't able to extend himself emotionally to really love her. This was more of a business marriage than it was a love marriage. It was very profitable for each of them.
Correct. He inherited many slaves because her father was a large slave owner. And did she feel that there was any, how do I put this tactfully? So she didn't just went through the motions. She was more like a, my father told me to, so I'm marrying this man. Was there ever a love that developed between them?
No, no, and it's the same in this lifetime as well. It's very transactional.
Did you know that Sally Hemings was your half sister?
Did you know that Sally Hemings? She had an idea.
Did you ever talk to her about it or did it ever come up?
No,
What's her opinion on the slavery of the time? How did she feel about it in her soul?
god awful. She would feel terribly guilty about it. She didn't like it. She saw the wrong in it. She says that she would try to influence a better sort of relationship or treating slaves well, she says, but the men had the upper hand. They were the dictators of what went on at the plantations. The women had very little say, but she would try to show kindness.
How, was she involved in the karmic debt recollection or dissolving of her husband Thomas Jefferson and Sally Hemings? Did she have to lay party to that or not?
What party? No, no, that was between the two of them. And she's happy about it because obviously then it turns into this sort of triangulation. Most of the lifetimes, they've all been alive at the same time. And it's been a real struggle that Martha says he always chose Sally over her, and it was
Hmm.
lots of feelings of jealousy and betrayal. And but you see, those are the feelings that the system wants to evoke, right? In this last lifetime, where they're, Thomas Jefferson, and they're all playing that role, there were no feelings there. It's as if they had really washed out all the feelings on this type of scenario, which is why it was so easy to dissolve the contract.
From the point of view as Martha Wales Skelton Jefferson, what does she feel when she looks back upon that lifetime?
She feels disgusted.
So you can have disgusted emotion up there. What other emotions does she feel, and why does she feel that way?
Why do you feel disgusted? Because she's like humans behave like animals. We were no better than caged wild animals. We were so um wrong, and we were so wild, and we treated people badly. Like everything was wrong with how we behaved then. What did you think about your husband being president or being high? She hated it. She hated it because she had to sit there, and she had to basically sit there and look pretty, right? Not really say much. Her opinion didn't matter. Whether she agreed or disagreed was of no consequence. Nobody cared. And women were often excluded from any types of gatherings or conversations. Women would be segregated, they would be in a different room, and it was like, man's business. They didn't want women involved in those decisions.
From Martha's point of view, is suffering on earth a necessary path to evolving your soul?
Oh, is suffering on earth a necessary path? Yes.
And so that building in that contract to say, I'm going to suffer, who so she doesn't know the answer to this question, but how does that evolve the soul? How does that make it better going through that strife and getting through it?
Well, it's supposed to make you stronger, and it's supposed to make you, right, more evolved as a soul. Like, I've checked this box, I've conquered this lesson, I'm moving forward. Um, and of course, the suffering ekes out the emotions, and you can move forward. But I'm saying, okay, let me ask this question. The more life lessons we go through as a soul, is evolving becoming more hardened as a soul, like where these life lessons do not phase us that much? No, because as you're going through the lifetime, the more you experience, a lot of, or most people, they get more hardened to the harsh
Curmudgeonly, yes.
realities, right? She says it's not the same on a soul level.
Let's ask her, are there emotions in spirit that can only be expressed in spirit and not on the earth plane?
Mm. Yes,
What are they? How are they felt? How are they experienced?
unconditional love. That is in the spirit world, but that is impossible to recreate here on the earth plane, because she says love has expectations here. Whereas in the spirit world, love has no expectations. You can, plan to kill one another, you can plan to do horrible things to each other, and you can still unconditionally love. Yet here on the earth plane, you can't unconditionally love someone. Eventually, all of those, all of that mistreatment will wear you down. and it will make you hopefully walk away, or certainly walk away emotionally and psychologically, if not physically, if you're unable to leave physically. I mean, don't forget, in her lifetime, she's saying women were not allowed to leave physically. Once you were married, that was it. It was very difficult to leave. You were considered to be property, and if you left, you could be, beaten by your husband. And that was perfectly acceptable back then.
Yeah, I think she had 6 kids in 10 years and then passed away of her sixth kid. Are there other emotions in spirit? Other things that we don't experience down here?
No, the unconditional love is the big one. That is the main thing. Whereas we think that we have unconditional love here, but we don't. And I'm saying, okay, but what about people when they have children? She says no, she's disagreeing. She says, no, there, even with your own children, there's still conditions on that love.
How does she perceive souls from the other side? What do they look like?
They're like outlines and different colors. It's just like a wavy sort of outline. Electric blue, sort of neon yellow, green, just different colors. But I'm like, okay, do you actually see the color over there? And she says, no, but we can sense colors by the vibration. So different colors have different vibrational levels. Yes. And she says, even here on the earth plane, different colors have different vibrational levels.
Hmm. And can she give us a key as to what the colors represent over there? She'd mentioned a few of them. Can you tell if someone's karmic burden is heavy by looking at their outline color?
Yes, because it's faded. It's not as bright and vibrant. Those that are well evolved souls have bright and vibrant, sort of electric blue color, or electric, very just really just nice. And if you saw them here on the earth plane, you would just love to look at them. Whereas up there, you can just feel the vibrance of how the soul resonates towards you, how it, how it feels. That's how you see color over there. But yeah, it's you can see that the burden is heavy by the fact that the vibration is very low, therefore it's not very vibrant in color.
How many incarnations has Martha Wales Skelton Jefferson had as a human being?
Ooh, how many? 400.
Does she remember all of those lifetimes now?
No, no, but they're imprinted in the DNA and the helix. Is it in the helix? Yeah, the helix coding. It's
Souls
imprinted
have
in the
DNA?
DNA. Hmm?
Souls have DNA?
Ooh, do souls have DNA? No, not until they're created in physical form, but that energy transfers into the double helix and the DNA.
So the Akashic Records is written into your DNA?
Yes.
Hmm. And how is it imprinted up there? What is it, like a vibrational code? You've talked a lot about the mathematics of it. Does she understand the mathematics of building a new life? Since she's done it 400 times, think she'd be an expert by now?
Right. I know 400 is quite a lot. Um, she doesn't understand math. She's like, I'm not very good at it. I just know that the system works. Do you have access to your Akashic record? She says everybody has access, but it's whether or not you know how to tap into it and whether you're successful.
Everybody down here or up there or both?
Everywhere.
Hmm. So, how many decisions and permutations of your life do you have to make in your lesson plan before you turn it in and they say, yes, you can go down there again? Is it billions and trillions and you have to like write down what happens every day? Or do you just create scenarios of the 400 incarnations that she's gone through? What are the nuances of making your life for next time?
How many decisions? Billions. It's a lot of planning, everything down to somebody just smiling at you is built into the soul contract. For whatever reason, you needed that smile, and maybe you smiled back, maybe you ignored them. um, Even a simple smiling at you can give someone either pleasure, or it can give them a sense of relief, or a rejection if you just ignore them and you don't smile back. So even every little detail is planned out, billions and billions of everything.
So you're planning all of those interactions. Are you planning the emotions that you feel from those interactions, or is that left to your earth plane body?
Ooh. No, that's left to the earth plane body. That was such a good question.
And so you're only planning the interactions. And what are, we talk about karmic debt, we talk about those burdens. What are other godly earth or godly concepts that we don't know about down here on the earth plane? Like karma, like fate, we know all those, but what else is there that we don't have access to?
Well, it's being able to solve the mathematical layers with your consciousness, with your brain. And you can open up many horizons. I mean, really just fate and karma is kind of low level stuff. I mean, once you start getting up into the mechanisms of how this whole system was created, how the universe was created, it's mind blowing. And the lessons that are built in. But karma and fate are just very basic lessons. Those are
Okay.
very basic concepts. I mean, you
I
have
want
the
to,
whole concept of time pushing through, and mathematical, physics. I mean, it's too complex for the human brain to ever work out some of those levels of mathematics, but you've got them pushing into the time barrier, which we uncovered that in a CTT session, but she's talking about it again.
all right, let's thank you, Martha. We're going to move on away from that to Thomas Jefferson and ask him, we're going to ask his soul because he's incarnated. Are the pure mutations of things that you can do like infinite? Can you make an infinite number of decisions up there, or is it a finite amount?
Ooh, is it a Mitch McConnell? That's who it is.
Wow.
Okay.
I was going to say
He's
that, but I want to blow the
he's
candy
Mitch
out there.
McConnell. And I don't know a lot about Mitch McConnell, but he's the guy that was frozen on the spot, I think, recently, and
He's a
he had a
turtle. Yep, kind of looks like a turtle there too.
oh my goodness. I'm sorry. What was that question again?
It just, are the permutations endless? Are they infinite?
Are they infinite? I mean, you can put in as little or as much as you want, but just note that when you're putting in very little things, and little lessons, and not big controversial challenges, then you're going to spend a lot longer down here on the earth plane, many, many more lifetimes. The soul does get tired, it does get weary, and then it just becomes an uphill struggle, he says, because you are, trying to stay enthusiastic on a soul level, yet you can't, because you're just so beat down by so many lifetimes. So it's a very difficult balance to strike, he says. You have to approach it delicately.
So let's turn our attention to his incarnate. We're going to do a mind probe of Mitch McConnell and ask him what exactly is wrong with you, because he's fainted, he's had
Oh,
talking
yeah.
problems. What's wrong with you physically right now?
What is wrong with you physically right now? Ooh, he's very aggressive when I ask him that question, by the way. Um, it's dementia. Although the blood pressure, the blood pressure is the cause for the fainting and things like that, but he definitely is at the beginning stages of dementia, and they know that. The people that are around him, they know that. And yet they're going to keep pushing him because he is so likable according to his voter base. He does get voted back in. It keeps all these other people, his assistants, his aides, whatever, in a job. So that's why they just keep going with it. But it's very clear that he has dementia.
Well, then I guess we're going to have trouble asking him questions if he's unable to do that. Can we do a time shift where we ask him 10 years ago what his opinion was in 2015 of Thomas Jefferson?
So when I asked him that question and I moved him back to 2015, he put his hand on his heart and he loves the founding fathers. He is very well read, apparently. I don't know much about him, but he's very well read and he is, he's in awe of them. He tries to have the principles that they created then into today. He always looks to their teachings for guidance. Did you know that you were once Thomas Jefferson? No, but he really feels it in his soul when he connects to them. Like when people, I'm sure this has happened to you. You've ever gone to a place and you're like, this feels very familiar. I feel
Hmm.
like I've been here before. It's kind of something like that, but when he connects to the founding fathers, he does feel some sort of soul connection to Thomas Jefferson.
And what does he feel about the government shutdown? I guess, does he have the capacity to answer questions for us now, or is it like a Bruce Willis event where he's incapable of answering present day questions?
I think it's a bit late in the day at the moment. We'd probably have to hit him earlier on in the morning. I mean, he does have a lot of moments of lucidity, but then he just completely slips into this, this level of consciousness with no recall.
Yeah,
So it's
sunsetting.
kind of in and out. Yeah.
All right, let's move back to Thomas Jefferson then, since he's still aware and still on point. What does he think about the current ongoing or now possibly ended government shutdown?
It's terrible. Well, what do you think about the government shutdown? It's just never ending. This will keep going on and on and on for many years to come when they can't reach an agreement. But I'm saying, is that something to be proud of? That, at least we're not just ticking boxes and I mean, is that good? It's kind of checks and balances. He's like, no, Liz, that's awful. Okay, why is it awful? Because people suffer when there's a government shutdown. If it didn't harm the people in any way, then fine. But he's just reminded me, it's like we the people. We're not supposed to be separate from the people. We are supposed to be the people and representatives of the people. Do you think that now government represents its constituents? No, not at all. It's every man for themselves in most cases. They very rarely they may go into it thinking that that is what they are going to achieve, but they're quickly corrupted by the politics in Washington, he says. And if you try to stand down and you try to be we the people, you're laughed at. You're laughable. People lose respect for you. You can't get others to work with you. You become an outcast. So eventually you're corrupted.
Is there any country or government does he think that exists now which is an embodiment of representation by the people?
Yes. But it's like some old tribe that has not seen or come into contact with other human civilization. So they're still very much, he's talking about that tribe that lives on the island where
Yeah, we
other
talked to them.
humans don't. Yeah, we talked to them before, remember?
The door, yeah. So from a vibrational standpoint, then, why is it that people representation is not, what does that do for the nature of Earth if there's nowhere on Earth where people are represented? What does that do for the soul of humanity?
Well, he's saying we're going through this transition period at the moment where everybody's waking up, that they're not being represented properly, and it's going to create extreme resentment and bitterness, he says. And then eventually they'll try to work on overthrowing the regime. Are we going to see like a revolution or an overthrowing of government in the USA? What about it within 500 years? It's going to take longer than that. It's going to take longer than that. We're going to be, um, so when we reincarnate, we'll have to, if you find that exciting, you'll have to try and come back during that time, that time period.
Does his soul possess like a curiosity? Does he go and research things? He had a great library, so is he continuously evolving, trying to read things now, or does he automatically know everything when he's on the other side?
No, he loves learning. Do you automatically know everything when you're on those? I mean, you kind of do, but it's looking at it as if, you're watching a movie. When you're actually living in it, it's a whole different ball game, he says. Which, by the way, he loves baseball. He wanted you all to know that.
Okay. Right, they didn't have that back then in your day, so very, very slow, exciting game there. From your current vantage point, what can you tell us about the embodiment of your concept, we the people, that people should adhere to? Because we're not being represented. We have no representation, we have no say, and yet people still cling to your ideology.
What do you think about that? It's a false ideology in today's world. It's never we the people. It was in their world, but it's not in our world today.
How
But
do you
of
think
course, sorry, of course, it's just kind of drummed into everybody. It's a false perception. It's a false belief system.
what does he think
According
that
to Thomas Jefferson, sorry.
what's he think that people can do on the earth plane to help evolve their soul while they're incarnated?
He's like, get in and get out. Just make it as fast as possible. Stay busy.
That doesn't really help. It's not really a great suggestion.
Yeah, but he's a workaholic. His soul is a workaholic.
And does he, well, I guess that's, you're going to be that way. Um, let's bring in finally, if I can find Sally Hemings here and get a closing thought from her. From her vantage point, what does she think that people can do to help evolve their soul while they're down on the earth plane?
What do you think that people can do? Stop making contracts with people like Thomas Jefferson. Make contracts that are good for you and positive and filled with love, not filled with hate.
But she's dissolved her contract with Thomas Jefferson.
Yes, but the advice would be to others to make good, beneficial contracts, not contracts that are one-sided, not contracts that are destructive and detrimental, contracts where both parties benefit, both parties suffer. He didn't suffer in that lifetime when he was, having children with her and forcing her into that situation. There was no suffering on his part, she says. So therefore, she believes that the contract should be mutually beneficial and mutually experience the suffering.
Does she understand the mathematics of soul creation or soul incarnation creation?
Yes, in order to create a body, that is mathematics.
What are the parameters of things that you're creating when you make a body? Well, do you do every facet, or is there a template, like a default template that you can take?
Oh, is there a default template? I mean, there's loads of templates. Um, but really she doesn't use, do you use the templates anymore? Oh, she does. Yeah, they use templates. That was a good question, Mr.
Like, could you have
Reality.
one
Don't
green eye
forget,
and one red eye if you wanted to celebrate
yeah,
Christmas all the time? Like, what are the limitations of your avatar down here?
their limitations are whatever you make them be. Don't forget, he has a tip jar listed down below. These are really good questions. I'm learning a lot.
So if I wanted to be 12 feet tall and have glowing silver eyes, is that a template I can have down here, or is that they'd say no, you can't do that?
No, most templates are just ordinary. Do they have templates for disabled bodies? No. So you would build into the template the disabilities.
And is there a benefit to building in those disabilities, some type of karmic or fate benefit to it?
Is there some kind of karmic or fate benefit to it? I mean, it's just about the experience, really. I mean, you do create karma. It depends on the level of the disability. I mean, there's so many variables here. It's, how disabled are you? Are you having other people look after you? And then that creates that karmic, push pull between the caregivers. Are you parents of disabled children? Karmically, that takes, I mean, that'll put somebody through the ringer, right? And I'm sure those of you out there listening, you can understand it's not, she says, being said in a harsh way, but certainly emotionally it's going to wring out every emotion that you've probably ever experienced in any lifetime, and that will come through when you are a parent of a disabled child.
And so, from her perspective, then, are there people like petitioning you? Are there groups that are petitioning you when you're trying to create your new avatar over there? Like, oh, you should really join the Seventh Day Adventist. Oh, you should really, go to Somalia. Or, like, how are the petitioners coming at you when you're building a soul plan? And is it like that, or is it
Oh,
not
they're
something like that?
sorry, they're all over the place. They've got their billboards out, you know, they've got their signs out, sign up for this, sign up for that. They give lectures on different experiences. I mean, you can find any type of experience out there being lectured about, and it's what appeals to you. And it's also included in the lectures what that soul or the souls giving the lecture gained from that experience, because you don't really want to go into it blind, like a lot of souls do. We've come across that so many times where, yeah, I'll sign up for that. Who cares how it's going to make me feel? I'm not worried about the particulars. She says on a soul level, you have to worry about the particulars, because you can end up going through a lot of suffering with no benefit whatsoever, which is what she did in that lifetime.
Can't you tell us about the most bonkers petitioner out there?
Um, she thinks that something on par with what Stephen Hawking had to experience is quite severe. She doesn't call it bonkers, but she says there's definitely severity in that type of contract.
But from a lecture point of view, what's the craziest lecture she's been at?
Those that promote mental illness where the person lashes out and is locked up in a mental hospital, to her, that's her opinion, just not having any control over your emotional output, um, just being so mentally ill that you are just shouting and screaming and banging the walls all day,
What's next
and
in this
having
incarnation? Sorry.
to be sedated. Sorry, what was that?
What's next in this incarnation for Sally Hemings?
Well, she's just looking after her kids. I mean, she's here on the earth plane now. She's just enjoying her time with her family. She is a struggling single parent in this lifetime. Did you have much interaction with your children in the lifetime that where you had? No, because her children were basically taken from her. There wasn't a lot of interaction there.
Hmm.
She was just a breeding machine.
Yes. Well, Sally Hemings, thank you. Mitch McConnell, Thomas Jefferson, Martha, Liz Cross, each of you out there, we appreciate you. Thank you very much for listening. And this was a great suggestion. Thank you, everybody.
Wow. We learned a lot today,
All
especially
right.
about Mitch McConnell.
All
All right. Thank you very much.
right. Bye bye.